Good morning, dear students. Today we are going to discuss about the types of flowers, types of pollination and fertilization in plants. The flower, which is the reproductive organ of a plant, bears the male and the female part. The male part, stamen, contains the male gamete, while the female part, the pistil, has the female gamete. Fusion of the two gives rise to an embryo. Now, let's get to know how exactly the process occurs. Let's learn about it in detail. But before that, you must know one thing. Do all flowers always possess the floral parts together? Some of them do. What do we call the types of flowers which possess both the male and the female floral parts together? Flowers which contain both stamen and pistil together are called bisexual flowers. Can you name a few examples of such types? Rose, China rose are a few in this category. What about other flowers then? Don't they contain both the male and the female floral parts together? Some flowers, such as those have gourd and pumpkin, possess either stamen or pistil. That is the reason why such flowers are called unisexual flowers. Now, getting back to the process, the first step is that of pollination. It is the process by which pollen grains are transferred to the female reproductive organs of a plant. In other words, pollens from the anther are transferred to the stigma. Does this process occur only between two flowers of the same types? Yes, that is correct. Pollination occurs between the flowers belonging to the same type. And does that mean pollination occurs only between two flowers born on the same type of plant? That question leads us to the types of pollination. The type in which pollination occurs between flowers born on the same plant is called self-pollination. So, what will be the next type? The other type of pollination is called cross-pollination. When the pollens travel from the anther to the stigma of a different flower or another plant. Can you guess how this process of transfer of pollen grains occurs? For this, we have several agents to lead the process. Agents such as wind and water are the abiotic ones. On the other hand, biotic pollinators such as bees, bats, moths and birds also help in this process. The process of pollination mixture that the pollen grains safely lands on the stigma. But what happens next? Does this lead to fertilization directly or any other intermediate steps? Now we'll see exactly what happens after pollination. The next and the most important step is that of fertilization. Fertilization is simply the process of fusion of male and female gametes to give rise to a new embryo. Before understanding this process, let us understand the terms which are new for us. First, I will let you know what gametes are. Gametes are the specialized cells which serve the function of reproduction. Gametes will be different in the males and the females. Sexual reproduction is where the gametes is from both male and female individuals will unite to form a zygote. What is zygote? It is a single cell structure formed from the fusion of male and female gametes. This single cell further develops into an embryo. What is an embryo? It is the structure that will further develop into an organism. So, gametes are the special cells called sex cells present in organisms that participate in sexual reproduction. Fusion of the two gametes, one from male and the other from the female, will give rise to a zygote which will further develop into an embryo. This embryo grows and develops into a baby organism. These are the few terms that you have to know. Now, let's go back to the fertilization process in plants. Let's define the process again. It is the process of fusion of male and female gametes to give rise to an embryo. After pollination successfully completes, how fertilization occurs in plants? Let us see the structure of a typical pistil, the female reproductive part of a flower. The pollination process has caused the pollen grains to safely land on the stigma. For fertilization to occur, male gametes need to reach this lower part of the pistil called the ovary, where the female gametes awaits it. The female gamete is present inside the ovary to form a zygote. The female gamete has to fuse with the male gamete. Now, how this will happen? It is possible by the structure called the pollen tube. This tube is formed from the pollen grain itself. The tube travels down the complete style and it reaches the ovary. The tube carries along the male gamete that is safely taken to the ovary. Now, once the gamete reaches the ovary, the tube fuses, giving rise to the formation of a single cell. Zygote will further develop into an embryo. Zygote formation in plants marks the completion of fertilization. What happens next? What will happen once fertilization is successfully accomplished? After fertilization, ovary develops into a fruit and ovules develops into seeds. What is an ovule? Ovule is the part of the female reproductive system that will develop into seeds after fertilization. So, ovule forms the seeds, which is nothing but a structure containing the embryo inside it. The baby plant that is yet to develop inside it with utmost protection. That is why we have the seed. A seed remains safe and is guarded by seed coat which protects the inner delicate parts and the embryo during unfavorable condition. So how does the plants grow from single seed? When seeds are sown in the soil and when they achieve favorable conditions, they germinate to give us a new plant.